Yeah. But oh boy, it slowed me down. But again, the storytelling that I told myself, looking back at it from a third party observer point of view, from your best friend's point of view, slowing down actually helped me truly appreciate life. It helped me appreciate the little things, and it helped me look at myself from a different perspective. Instead of woe is me, it was wow, this is me.
You're listening to the First Class Life Show, hosted by Lindsay Vertner, a holistic personal development show for high-achieving leaders who desire to maximize their impact while creating a life full of purpose, fulfillment, and happiness. So grab a drink, grab your notebook, and let's get started. Hey, 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 world. Welcome back to another episode of the First Class Life Show with myself, Lindsay Vertner, your fabulous host. And we have another phenomenal guest. And I'm super excited for you to meet her because I had the opportunity to meet her many years ago at a Women in Business conference. And she has just been amazing ever since, and watching her grow and all the phenomenal things that she does. Like, I can't wait for y'all to hear her story and all the good stuff, okay? But I know that you are here. Excuse me, y'all hear my voice? Listen, I need some water, okay? But I know that you guys are out there maximizing your impact, creating your first class life full of purpose, fulfillment, and happiness. And we are so thankful that you are tuned in to learn how to do that even more in your lives. So you already know how we do it on this show is we just going to hop right into the conversation. And I'm going to allow the lovely Dee DiFatta to introduce herself, okay? Because we need to know, like, who she is. So tell us, Dee, welcome to the First Class Life Studios. Let us know, like, who is Dee really? Give us the good tea and tell us who you are, okay?
Dee, it's funny.
Mm-hmm.
Dee is fun and feisty. She is living her life full of freedom and fulfillment, which is something that she didn't have a couple of years ago. Yeah, Dee has stripped a lot of layers to find the truth of who she is. I love it. I love learning. I love growing. I love evolving. I mean, change can be scary, but it can also be so exciting and so life-changing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
now you mentioned.
Well, go ahead. If I had to sum myself up in one word, it would be PositiviDee.
Did y'all catch that? Not PositiviDee. PositiviDee. Her name, D-E-E. Okay, catch it. Now, you mentioned that, up until a few years ago, you didn't know who Dee was, and you had to peel back so many layers. Like, what were some of those layers that you're talking about?
Oh my goodness, so many layers, so many old stories. Just thinking back to when I was little, I mean, I've done an ancestral clearing with people, and I've done all this healing, and it's funny, they said they saw my 3-year-old like so angry, and I'm like, why was I so angry? Well, way back then, my mom was having another baby, and way back then, you don't know any better because it's all about you. And when it's all about you can't understand or comprehend why it's not all about you anymore. So yeah, I had to take on a new identity as mommy's little helper and big sister, and that really messed me up, and I didn't even realize it until recently.
How did that show up in your behaviors?
Oh my goodness, I became a people pleaser.
Mm-hmm.
I became a giver. I completely shut down emotionally because I was so angry that I couldn't be myself, that I didn't express myself because I felt guilty. I'm like, why can't I embrace this? Why am I fighting? Why am I resisting? Why am I angry? And I didn't want to yell at my mom. It wasn't her fault. I mean, a baby's a baby, And it wasn't all about me. And I love my brother and I love my mom, but there was that war within myself. I wanted to love, and at the same time I was angry, and it was like, it was just constant. And the walls went up, and I'm like, fine, I'm not going to feel anything. But like I said, I didn't realize that until a couple of years ago.
Yeah, so oftentimes our behaviors as adults can be traced back to experiences from our childhood. And so you mentioned that you put up this wall, you didn't want to feel anything. How did that show up in your adult behaviors?
Um, a failure to communicate. I was not a great communicator, which is funny because I'm a coach now. I I was not a communicator. I couldn't express my feelings, and I became an overachieving, stressed out perfectionist. Had to be busy all the time, always trying to please, always trying to be the best I could be, never focusing on self-care or self-love or self-acceptance or self-respect or any of those wonderful gifts you can give yourself. Yeah, it was
Wow.
challenging.
Yeah. So, like, tell us about that journey of like what it caused you to do or not do, how it caused you to show up or not show up as a leader.
So I don't think I ever realized the leader that I was until about 5 years ago. As a leader, it can be a really lonely lifestyle. You don't realize it until you look back with a different perspective, as an observer. And you're like, oh, my friends didn't leave me. I moved on, or, oh, I'm not all by myself. I'm leading the group. Like, I'm not following the leader. I am the leader. It's like, oh my goodness. It was a lot of reflection, a lot of self-reflection, just looking back from a completely different perspective, from a non-critical, non-judgmental observer's point of view, as a best friend would, instead of your worst enemy. Instead of my inner critic going, you're terrible, you didn't do this right, it was my best friend going, oh my gosh, Dee, look at it. Like, there's a bigger picture here. You can redefine this now. You can see it differently. You can move forward. I'm like, yay!
So, what advice would you share to the listeners that maybe don't see themselves as leaders right now?
Have faith in yourself. Trust in yourself and in your journey. Believe that everything is happening for a reason and that you were meant to share your unique gifts and talents with the world. You may not realize or understand that now because there's still all those old stories playing in your mind. And, it takes a lot of deconditioning and unlearning to get to where I am now, but oh my God, it's so exciting when you finally remember who you are, who you've always been. We were never born to fit in and be ordinary. We were meant to stand out and be extraordinary.
Looking for amazing products to help boost your first class lifestyle? Then head over to firstclasslifeshop.com, where you can treat yourself to personal development books and workbooks, lifestyle affirmation cards, adult coloring books, mugs, notebooks, hoodies, t-shirts, leggings, and more. All products were designed to help you master your mindset, walk in your purpose, and live your first class life because you deserve it. So treat yourself today at firstclasslifeshop.com. Again, that's firstclasslifeshop.com.
It's all leadership. It's wonderful.
Now, I noticed you keep mentioning old stories. Tell us what you mean by old stories, because you said it a few times now.
So what happens in your mind is that you take in a thought, you take in anything. It doesn't even have to be your thought. It could be somebody else saying something. It's like algorithms on a computer. Your computer it gains all this information from, where you go, the search engines, all these different things. Your mind is doing the same thing. It's collecting all this information up here. And you've got the supercomputer in your mind. But your supercomputer collects all the data. You create the stories. It's kind of like playing telephone with yourself. So I'll use an example of, when I was a child. So my mom would say, Dee, I'm really disappointed in you right now. Okay, I did something bad, whatever. I mean, your kids, stuff happens. So, and I would take that and craft the story. Oh my God, my mom's disappointed in me. Oh my God, I can't do anything right. Oh my God, I have to be a perfectionist. Oh my God, I need to show up for my mom. wow, I need to put more effort out there. I'm not worthy of receiving. I need to just give, give. And hopefully if I give, she'll love me more. That's what I'm talking about, stories.
So how do you begin to really identify those old stories and then, excuse me, rewrite them?
So it's funny you should ask. I started journaling. And when I started journaling, I saw a lot of the same repeated stories or behaviors or, certain things were coming out all the time. Like I noticed myself saying, I need to figure this out. And I'm like, oh my God, how many times am I going to say I need to figure this out? I noticed that all the time. But it really, if you're not into journaling, and I really suggest hiring a coach, because by you sharing your story and then listening to what you say, they can pick out certain things. I know, talking to me, if I talk to anybody for 10 minutes, I've already got a really good understanding of what's holding them back. I'm like, oh, so 10 minutes after they've started, I go, can I just interrupt for a second? Because normally, there's something that's just, I've heard it 5 times over and they don't even realize they said it once. And I said, do you realize you just said this 5 different ways? They go, what? And I go, yeah. I said, what does that mean? What does this mean to you? And they're like, oh my God, I had no idea. So yeah, it helps to talk to somebody who's an open listener, an active listener, so that they can get that, because you can't see your own blind spots. It's just not possible.
Right. Like the saying, you can't see the picture when you're in the frame.
Yes.
So for those of us out there that may not be avid journalers, geez Louise, I can't talk today, y'all. I don't know what it is, but for those of us that may not be avid journalers, what are your top 3 tips for effective journaling?
You know what? Just let it flow. People think journaling has to be like writing. Journaling and writing are 2 completely different things. Journaling is just jotting down your thoughts. It's emptying everything that you have in your mind on paper. It's liberating. It really is. If you have ideas, jot them down. It doesn't have to be pretty. It can be as messy as you want. It's your journal. It has nothing to do with anybody else. Nobody needs to see that but you. So yeah, let it flow. Do not criticize yourself about anything that you've written. Just let it out and show yourself some love and compassion. When you look back at your journaling, look back at it like your best friend, not your worst enemy. It's
your best friend.
Yeah, it's meant to learn from. It's not meant to beat yourself up about.
Yeah, and with so much technology these days, we often dismiss the power of writing something out with our hands. So definitely it can be powerful, because there's actually, triggers that happen when we physically take our hand and a pen or pencil and write it out on paper versus typing it on your phone or typing it on a computer. So it just shifts the narrative a whole lot and makes it more concrete and more powerful than whenever we're working with technology. So
definitely. Yeah, you don't have a backspace when you're writing.
And resist the urge to scribble everything out.
Yeah, just let it keep coming, because you never know. You never know what you're going to receive. And it's beautiful. It's a beautiful unfolding.
Yes. So you mentioned you had to rewrite some of those old stories, and you also mentioned people pleasing. And so we got an idea of where that came from. How did it impact your ability to either go after your goals or not? Because I'm pretty sure it impacted it in a negative way.
Oh, it sure did. Because I wanted to make everybody else happy. I was caring about what everybody else thought. And it's like, when you do that, you stop yourself from creating. And if anybody, God forbid, anybody says anything negative about what you're putting out there, even if it's not meant to be negative, you stop. So I started a YouTube channel years ago, and I was putting stuff out there every week, and it was awesome, and I loved it. And one person said to me, it kind of seems repetitive. That was the last day I made a video, which blows my mind. Yes, this was years ago. This was before the deconditioning and the unlearning, and but I stopped. I just stopped, and I've tried to do a few since then, but I'm like, no, we're going to write. So I went from being seen and heard every week to closing down and going back into writing mode, because nobody has to see me if I'm writing. I can put out all the books I want, but nobody has to see me. I'm like, oh my God. So yeah, especially when you have people of influence in your life, whether they be parents, teachers, coaches, whatever, when they say stuff to you, that really, it hurts your soul. It does. If you allow it to hurt your soul. And I allowed it to hurt my soul because I was still in people-pleasing mode.
Yeah.
So,
and the crazy thing is, like, mastery comes with repetition. Yes. And if I'm going to work with somebody, I would much rather work with someone that's consistent, not like changing their story every other day. I mean, obviously evolving for changing with the times, but, like who the person is consistent. Their message is consistent, not like somebody that is like, the sky is blue on Wednesday, and then the sky is pink on Thursday, and then the sky is green on Friday. No. If I'm looking for a sky expert, I want a sky expert that is like, the sky is blue and white and sometimes different colors every single day, saying the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah. It's amazing how all those old stories and the old habits that you have, they take a while to die off, to really release and let go. You have to be aware. Awareness is huge. That is half the battle when you're going into this new world, trying to become a new version of yourself.
So how did you overcome people pleasing? Because I know that that's a big struggle with a lot of people, and we don't even recognize that we're doing it in our lives until we have the ability to just really reflect back on our behaviors and our belief systems. So how did you personally overcome people pleasing?
It really helped to look back and see where it came from, and to redefine the story. There's a lot of, what do you want to say? There's a lot of trauma that, you experience through life. And it doesn't have to be the big T trauma. It can be the little T traumas, just hearing the same thing over and over and over and over again, the repetition of it. But, looking back on my parents and how I grew up, they always loved me and I always loved them. But I lacked love for myself. And I realized I was never taught how to love myself. And then I really looked at it, you go digging deeper into, the past, and not to rehash it or relive it, but just to look at it from a different perspective. And I go, oh, this is how my parents grew up too. I look back at my grandparents and I'm like, you start to put the pieces together and you're like, oh my God, this is like this long ancestral trail of, different people pleasing and surviving, just surviving in order to make it through life. I mean, my parents were young when they had me. I can't imagine having a baby at 21 years old. They did the best they could with what they had. They loved me and I loved them, but they were in survival mode, which put me in survival mode. So it was a constant state of survival, a constant state of, trying to love them the way they wanted to be loved. There's so much there. But looking at it from that observer's perspective, from way up here, and realizing that there's no blame or shame to be had in that at all. They did the very best they could with what they had, and I did the very best I could with what I had. I didn't know any better. So looking back at that situation from, my adult mind, yeah, you get upset because you didn't realize back then, now. But it's like, I wasn't supposed to know back then what I know now. I was 3 years old, for crying out loud. There was a lot of forgiveness, and not, forgetting what happened, because by remembering what happened, you can change your ways, but just forgiving, outright forgiving. It wasn't anyone's fault. It wasn't my parents' fault. It wasn't my fault. It wasn't anybody's fault. There's no more room for blame, shame, regret, guilt, like let it go, let it go. But yeah, I still have to remind myself it's a constant. It's never a one and done. It's just a healing. It's never a one and done. It is a constant practice that you need to be aware of.
Yeah, yeah. Now, how do we begin to start that journey of forgiveness?
Oh, you know what? I think I started by looking in the mirror and saying, I forgive you for not knowing then what you know now. It was just one of those things, and it opened me up to more. I also opened myself to the universe, and I surrendered my whole agenda, like everything I thought I knew, everything I thought I was like the queen of. I'm like, forget it. I surrender. I lay it all down. I surrender. And I'm like, show me the way, whether you believe in God, spirit, universe, whatever, higher power, give me faith, help me to see the way, like illuminate my path for me. And that was life-changing. It was life-changing because here I was, a control freak, trying to control absolutely everything around me. And after surrendering and laying it down and asking for help, it's like the floodgates opened. And I'm like, whoa, I couldn't write fast enough. I couldn't keep up with the messages I was receiving. I'm like, whoa. That was a day in my life that it was one of those moments where it's like, okay, you've arrived. You're open to receiving. Wonderful. Let's get to work. I'm like, wait, who's talking to me?
Are you loving the First Class Life Show? Then join our private Patreon community. Not only will you help to support our ability to provide you with great content, but you can also get exclusive perks like bonus videos and resources, discounts, episode transcripts, and more. So what are you waiting for? Join today at patreon.com/firstclasslife. Again, that's Patreon, patreon.com/firstclasslife. So you start receiving these blessings, the things that you desire in life. Was it difficult for you? Because you mentioned, not having that sense of self-love and self-worth and things like that. So was there some like dissonance between the two?
Oh, yeah. There was this big wall called resistance. And I kept getting these messages. You're a healer. I'm like, I don't know. You're a coach. What are you talking about? You're a speaker. Whatever. Oh, there was a big wall of resistance. And I was at war with myself. Because I couldn't allow myself to receive all that goodness. I didn't feel worthy of it. I fought that battle until I again had to lay it down and surrender. It's like, oh, this is annoying. Because, 50 years I've been in control. 50 years I thought I had it all together, which is complete and total BS. But yeah, 50 years I thought I had it all together. And it's like, no, would you just listen? I'm like, so when you get hammered with the same message over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, all of a sudden you're like, fine, what are you trying to tell me? And it starts to go in. It starts to creep in. And then there were other people who came to me and said, wow, are you a coach? Wow, are you a healer? I'm like, what is going on here? It was amazing. It was amazing. It was nice to have that awakening. I mean, even though I resisted it to the nth degree, it was a beautiful unfolding, and it was challenging to receive. It's still challenging to receive because, hey, if you've been a giver all your life, it's not going to change overnight.
Yes.
Yeah.
And, oftentimes we will be given little nuggets of guidance along the way of the things that we're meant to do, of, our purpose, of the direction we're supposed to go. Sometimes we'll complain like, oh God, show me the way. Like, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. But like you said, if you look back in those moments, like the signs were there all along. It's just we often ignore them or we dismiss them, or we minimize them, or we feel like, oh, that's nothing. To us, it may be nothing, but to the people we're meant to serve, it's everything. And so that's how we minimize it. Like, oh, that's just something I do. Like,
Yeah. I trust me, I get that. The stuff that comes easiest to you is your unique gift, but you a lot of times we're like, oh no, that's too easy. That couldn't be it. I need to fight. You don't need to fight anything. People are attracted to you because of your divine gift, which comes easy to you. So
yes.
it took a long time for me to step into that and completely understand.
Yes, we dismiss it because it's too simple.
Exactly. I mean, we've been taught, society's taught us that life is hard. Life is hard. You have to work hard for what you're supposed to, achieve in life. And when things come simple, we're like, oh, that was too easy. That can't be it. Let me just push past it and do something harder. Yeah, when you're at ease, that is your happy place. That is your gift.
Yes. Now, I know you've definitely experienced, a hard moment in your life because you had to come to terms with some changes in your body. Tell us about that.
Whew. So the day before my 22nd birthday, I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. That was not easy. I'm 21 years old, turning 22. My whole life, as I had perceived it, was gone. It was gone. I'm like, okay, who's going to hire me? Who's going to love me? Who am I going to live with? Who wants this broken body? I'm broken. No, I'm broken. I don't know if I'm going to heal. I have no idea what's going on. It affected the left side of my torso, so I was in a wheelchair for a while. It sucked. I mean, for lack of a better word, it sucked. And instead of becoming more faithful and believing that everything was going to be okay, I got involved in a victim story. Woe is me. Woe is me. Look at me now. What do I do? I dated guys that were horrible for me. I got involved in jobs that were horrible for me. I mean, I surrounded myself with all this horrible stuff. I ate horrible food. Like, I didn't care anymore. Why care if I'm this sick? If my body's not going to function anyway? Oh, it was bad. For years, I went through this struggle. Actually, it's been a very, how do I put it? It took a long time for me to become completely aware and heal the repair from the disconnect that I had from my spirituality, because I thought that religion and spirituality were the same thing, and they are so not. I think I expected other people to take care of me instead of me taking care of myself. I did not want to be associated with MS in any way, shape, or form, so I pretended everything was fine. When that didn't really allow me to accept myself or love myself for who I was. I was grateful to find my soul partner for life. We've been together 25 years, but it's been a challenge even being with him, and then I had my daughter, a year and a half after that, which was wonderful, but I was going through the motions of life. The motions of life with a disease that was holding me back from being my best self. By emotions of life, I mean working for a living, but not living my purpose. It was a lot. It wasn't until I had this disease for 20 years, 20 years. And my daughter was graduating from high school that a light bulb went off. And I go, wait, what am I doing? I can do whatever I want to do. Casey's going off to college. What does my next chapter look like? What do I want to create for myself? Because now I'm going to be an empty nester. It's just me and Mike. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, I'm not working this job anymore. That's making me miserable. 17 years in insurance, 17 years as a fun and feisty, creative person living in this black and white box. What?
Yeah.
So it was a lot. It was a lot. But like that 20-year point and her graduating from high school was that that point in time where I said there has to be something more to this. There has to be something more to this. That was my turning point. Now, some people, it doesn't take them that long. And I want to put it out there to the world. I want to be the person who helps them so that they don't have to suffer with this for 20 years, so that they can move past what's holding them back and live their purpose and live their best life. Yeah. But oh boy, it slowed me down. But again, the storytelling that I told myself, looking back at it from a third-party observer point of view, from your best friend's point of view, slowing down actually helped me truly appreciate life. It helped me appreciate the little things, and it helped me look at myself from a different perspective. Instead of woe is me, it was wow, this is me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Instead of whoa, this is me, it is wow, this is me. So you told us the turning point.
Yeah.
How did you begin to make the shift once you had that aha moment? Like, what were some of the steps that you took to start to embrace this thing that you had been denying and hiding and keeping in this box for so long and resenting?
The very first thing I did was I redefined MS. It no longer meant multiple sclerosis. It now meant modified swagger because it's walking a little off and a motivational spitfire. And I'm like, oh yeah, my fun and feisty self surfaced. It resurfaced. I'm like, thank God. I did have to start utilizing a walker, and that was incredibly challenging. But I realized after utilizing it that people were like, wow, you're such an inspiration. I'm like, okay, I'll be an inspiration. That works for me. I even took my pictures with it. I went and had professional pictures taken with my wheelchair and my walker. I'm like, this is not going to limit my life. I'm going to have fun. I am not going to hold myself back. This is me. I have to accept myself for who I am and where I'm at right now. And I did. And, when I did that and I started, that's when I got online. I wanted to share smiles and motivation and inspiration and laughter with people in the MS community who it's going to take a little while to really, help them through that, because a lot of people that are diagnosed with a disease are not willing to be open to something as wild and extraordinary as, having fun with it. But yeah, it really opened me up to a whole different world, a whole different way of being, a whole different way of living. Instead of saying, woe is me and I can't do this, I focused on what I could do and the impact I could make. And I realized I could make a huge impact, a huge impact. I didn't need my legs in order to make a positive impact and share positive vibes with the world. Hell no. I was amazing just the way I was. It was awesome.
Yes, I love it. Okay, modified swagger. Now, what advice would you share to the listener out there to help them move out of victim mode? Because when we're stuck in victim mode, we give up our power for change, and you had to release that. So what advice would you give to that person that's listening that is stuck in victim mode?
In order to create a new behavior and new patterns, you first have to change your thought process. So the first thing that I suggest you do is get involved in a positive community, follow people that are putting out positive vibes. That's how I met Lindsay. She was part of my positive community that got me in mode. I'm like, wow. I'm like, look what she survived. Why am I? Oh, woe is me. Oh, no way, Jose. So yeah, it really, 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 really helps to surround yourself with positive people and positive stories so that you can see how other people have changed their lives. When you're stuck in the same situation, surrounded by the same people, doing the same things day in, day out, it's really hard to change your thoughts, shift your perspective, and get to that next level and get new results. Yeah. So positive community. Mm-hmm.
Yes, your thoughts are so powerful because they influence your behaviors, which influences the reality you create for yourself. I even remember some years ago when you had a contest to help you name your wheelchair, your walker.
It was awesome. You know what? That was fantastic because other people really got a thrill out of that, and I loved it. So my walker's name, Marianne Cruz came up with it, is Diva. D, it stands for D is independent, vivacious, and authentic. So yeah,
Say it again.
D.
D
So the
is
name of my walker is Diva, Diva, which stands for
Mhm.
D is independent, vivacious, and authentic.
Yes, yes, yes. You
And I
really
named,
shifted the
yeah,
narrative.
yes, exactly. And I named my wheelchair Proud Mary.
Yes, and as soon as you say that, I think of the powerful, like gunslinging, like, like
Exactly.
powerhouse woman, specifically the Taraji P Henson version of Proud Mary.
Yeah, so instead of me saying, woe is me, I gotta walk with this walker, or woe is me, I have to be pushed in this wheelchair, I'm like, no. I said, Dia Diva are coming at you, watch your toes. I tell people I arrive in style, I got big wheels, Proud Mary. It's all good.
Yes,
Yeah.
put some rims on that.
Yep.
Yes, thank you, thank you. So, if it's cool with you, I would like for us to play a little game. Is that cool? That cool?
Sure.
Okay, let me grab my timer here. It's a real easy game. All you have to do is fill in the blank. So I'm going to say what's your favorite ... and then you fill in the blank with what it is, okay? The only
Okay.
catch is you have to fill it in 10 seconds or less, or you're going to get a buzzer.
Okay.
And then for the buzzer, if you miss the buzzer, what is the consequence for everybody tuned in? You have to think of that.
Oh boy.
Do they have to do an extra push-up? Do they have to compliment a stranger or somebody they don't like? Do they have to take a shot of tequila? Do they have to, you get to pick whatever you want to be the consequence.
Oh. Okay.
But here's the thing, it's all about perspective, because what's a consequence to one might be a reward to another and vice versa, okay? So don't worry about causing anyone pain.
Never.
So, all right, you ready for the first one?
I'm ready.
Okay, we'll start with something easy, like what is your favorite food specifically? Go.
Sushi.
Okay, nice. Any particular type of sushi?
Oh, I love rolls. Anything with salmon.
I like cooked sushi, and I know that's like oxymoron of sushi, but if I eat sushi, I eat all the ones that don't have the raw fish.
I understand.
What is your favorite drink? Specifically, can't say water. Go.
Oh my gosh. Gin and tonic with lime and mint.
Okay, a little party. Gin and tonic with lime and mint. Nice. You got that one. I just didn't hit stop. What is your favorite place to travel to specifically? Go.
France. Just came back from France in May. It was amazing.
I had a layover in France before, and we were actually going to spend the day there, but it was still like early COVID times, and so if you left the airport, there was too much work to come back, and it wouldn't have been worth it. And it was crazy because we had planned that trip specifically with the intentions to spend the day in France. So I literally had a whole day just sitting in the boring Paris airport.
I completely understand. When we went to Italy and France, we had the same thing planned. We were going to spend a day in Barcelona, and that day that we were in Barcelona, all of the taxi service shut down. And I'm like, what? So we couldn't see anything. get it. I totally get it.
And I'm sorry to the Parisians or the French people, but like that airport was whack to me for it to be such a large international airport. Like there weren't really any food places except for like maybe one restaurant in the airport, and then it was a whole bunch of like itty bitty sandwich shops, like little small sandwiches. And I was like, dang, at least can I get some good French food or something? Like, so I just tried to sleep the whole time to make if I go to sleep, maybe the time will be faster.
There you go.
What is your favorite season of the year and why? Go.
Oh, autumn. Definitely autumn. I love to see the leaves change colors. I love to watch them fall off the trees. I could just sit there and watch them fall. It's beautiful.
Yes, especially that burnt orange, that auburn color. I got my burnt orange today.
Yep. Burnt orange and the reds and the yellow. I just love the way they all mesh together. They're beautiful.
Yes. What is your favorite song? Go.
Oh, I'm coming out. I'm coming out is my favorite song. And I love that song.
By which artist? Which version?
Who sings that? Donna Summer? Is that who sings it? I don't even know right now.
I'm coming out.
Yes.
I want the world to know. That one? Dance party.
That is me.
Yes.
I'm coming out.
And I could totally see that fitting with your personality. With you and Diva and Proud Mary.
Oh, yeah. Coming out together.
What is your favorite book, specifically, title and author? Go.
Oh, my favorite book is probably You Can Heal Your Life. So by Louise Hay. That was that changed my life. Did not realize it could heal my life.
I actually have a Louise Hay book over here on this bookshelf. I don't have that one though.
Oh,
I have
amazing.
one of her other books.
Yeah, I may have been diagnosed with MS 28, almost 29 years ago, but I am on this healing journey and I see myself free of assisted mobility devices. No more. Like I see myself walking up on stage and telling my story about how I healed myself of MS. I know it's possible.
Yes, I love it. That's awesome. That was like a warm and fuzzy moment right there. Okay, last one. What is your favorite activity to do to relax? Go.
Meditate. I love to meditate, or I love to play with my dog. Those are my two favorite things, meditating and playing with Jackson. And sometimes we lay on the bed together, which is awesome.
Do you have any meditation tips?
You know what? Please know that meditation is different for everyone. Okay. You don't have to sit there for half an hour, and just go, that is not meditation to everyone. Everyone has a different way of meditating. If you're walking, it's an active meditation. When you're washing dishes, it can be meditating. When you're doing laundry, it can be an active meditation. When you're staring at the leaves, it can be meditation. Whatever you believe meditation is, it doesn't have to be that way. It's whatever makes you feel calm within. That's meditation. So Sometimes I choose to walk. Sometimes I choose to breathe. Sometimes I just find pleasure, like I said, in washing the dishes in the warm soapy water. It's all good. Meditation can be a lot of different things.
Do you want to be surrounded by other high-achieving women who are working on their goals just like you? Are you looking for your circle that's passionate about their own growth yet still wants to see you shine? Do you desire to be supported through collaborations and connections instead of competition? Then Cowork and Chill is your place to be. Cowork and Chill is a hybrid of virtual co-working and virtual networking. It's a community of women who are striving to build living legacies. This is the space to create meaningful relationships with other equally yoked women where you're being poured into just as much as you pour out. So if you're looking for your crew for supportive accountability, then sign up today at coworkandchill.com. That's COWORKandchill.com. RKANDCHILL, coworkandchill.com. Yeah, I love that you pointed that out, because we do often, especially if you're not familiar with meditation, we do get hung up on it has to be, everything is silent, everything is still. It's you sitting and just listening to the humming and not thinking about anything. And really, it's so much more than that.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
thank you for playing our game. That's called First Class Favorite Things. And guess what? You have officially become one of our phenomenal curators for our First Class Favorite Things list. So if you don't know what that is, make sure you click that button and join our private Patreon community, because we have our First Class Favorite Things reading list, song playlist, places to travel because we're cultured over here, okay? And relaxing activity because we're all about self-care. If you want access to that list curated by all of our phenomenal guests, then click the link and join our private Patreon community. Woohoo! So thanks for adding to the list, Dee.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yes. So I have to ask you about First Class Life. So for those of you that are new to the First Class Life show, First Class Life is actually an acronym that stands for all of the different characteristics and skills that you want to embody into your lifestyle to be able to create a life full of purpose, fulfillment, and happiness, okay? If you want to find out what that acronym stands for, then there are two ways you can do that. One, you can either go back and listen to the very first episode of First Class Life, episode 1, where I break down each of those factors. Or two, actually, we don't have to live in an either or life. This is a this and that, okay? So listen to the first episode and go to firstclasslifeshop.com. Again, that is firstclasslifeshop.com, and buy the book. First Class Life, 10 Key Factors for Creating a Life Full of Purpose, Fulfillment, and Happiness. Meanwhile, we're going to chat it up with Dee and ask her, Dee, which factor of First Class Life do you feel that you resonate with the most?
Oh, it is so challenging to pick just one. But thankful. Thankful is probably the one that resonates the most. And I always talk about gratitude. I think that gratitude can change your entire attitude. I really do. And not just being thankful for the things we have and thankful for the family in our life and friends in our life, but even finding thanks in our challenging situations. I have become incredibly thankful for being diagnosed with MS, because without this diagnosis, I don't think I would have gotten out of my own way. And being diagnosed with MS slowed me down, but in slowing down, it allowed me to see the beauty in myself and in others and in all the little things. So yeah, thankful is something that stands out for me.
Nice. Thank you for sharing. Thank you.
Welcome.
Now, tell us, how do you impact the world as a leader?
Oh, listen, like I said before, as we were talking, I never realized I was a leader. I never realized what my purpose was supposed to be. Everybody used to tell me, they're like, wow, you have a really unique perspective on the world. Yeah, and I do. And they used to say, oh, and you're so positive all the time. Well, you know what? That's my PositiviDee. I have finally leaned into all of this beautiful perspective and positivity in my life, and have owned and affirmed that, yes, I am a life coach. Yes, I am a spiritual healer. Yes, I am an inspirational speaker. And yes, I am, a positivity trainer, educator, and expert. It is phenomenal.
Yeah.
I put information out there every day on Facebook. Every day there's something to inspire you to see beyond your limitations and experience something new and exciting in your life.
Nice. Now, do you have any services or resources that you'd like to share?
I believe that what I shared was my calendar link, because I offer everyone a free 30-minute consultation so that we can find out what is bothering you. Because like I said, sometimes you can't see your own blind spots. And I also have a freebie on my website, which is actually, get this, 90 doses of PositiviDee. So it's from my book, Your Daily Dose of Positivity, that has 365 doses in it. And it's like the first 90 doses of it. So yes, please go to my website and check it out.
Nice. And tell us what that website is.
www.adoseofpositiviD.com. Yeah.
Nice. And don't worry, y'all. If y'all missed it, all of that is in the show notes. So you can just click away. Okay. So thank you for sharing that. How can everybody reach you in these internet streets so they can stay connected with your positivity?
In the world of social media, you can reach me on Facebook. You can reach me on LinkedIn. You can reach me via my website. It has ways to contact me. And you can reach me via email. DEE@adoseofpositivity.com.
Nice. Now, do you have any final words of advice on how we can create our first class life?
So this is something that means a lot to me. Okay. You're going to get challenged with all kinds of stuff in your life, and you don't get to choose the challenges that you're faced with, but you have 100% authority over how you deal with them. So yeah, don't get stuck in, what's going on. Always try to see beyond the circumstances. Be your own best friend and see beyond your circumstances.
Nice. So true. Well, folks, y'all heard it here, okay? Make sure you connect with Dee so you can get your daily dose of positivity, all right? And make sure you tune in every week with another episode of the First Class Life Show. And listen, we know that you could be doing anything in the world right now, but you have spent the past hour here with us, and we are forever grateful. So continue to go out there and maximize your impact while creating your life full of purpose, fulfillment, and happiness. Why? Because you deserve it. Until next time, bye. Unfortunately, all good things must come to an end. But please be sure to subscribe to the First Class Life Show. And don't forget to rate, leave a review, and join our private community so that we can continue to provide you with great personal development conversations to help you maximize your impact while creating a life full of purpose, fulfillment, and happiness. You deserve it.